Hi, I'm Dale from Growing Grounds, and we're going to plant some trees today. I'm going to show you how to plant trees today. We're going to talk about different soil types. I've got a larger balled and burlap tree and a potted tree. I'm going to show you some different things. Harley's going to help, I guess. But this soil out here is kind of a crumbly clay. It's got some black dirt in it, it's got some clay in it, but see how it breaks up? This is great stuff. Easy to work with. It crumbles. That's going to drain very well. This is hard clay soil. Unfortunately, it's what a lot of homeowners deal with in their new homes. It doesn't break up well. It stays in big chunks. It's miserable to plant a tree in this. See how it doesn't break up in big pieces? The problem is, this is hard to dig in. The worse the dirt is, the bigger the hole should be. And too often people say, oh, the soil is so hard, I can't dig it big enough. This is what you don't like, but this is what you really have to work at. Dig a big hole, amend it with peat moss, amend it with gypsum. This soil has nothing in it, no organic material, and that's what the peat moss does. See, it breaks up in chunks. That's bad stuff. And the real problem is this won't drain well. When you pour water in a hole with this, it just stands there. If you have clay soils like this, you got to be very careful. Dig it big, add the peat moss for organic material, add the gypsum to break it up, and water carefully. Okay, we're not planting a tree here, but I just want to show you what good black dirt is. See how it just crumbles and falls apart? That's the good stuff. It's got a lot of organic material in it. It breaks up and crumbles. It's easy to dig in. Your plants love it. When you plant in this and you water it, it's going to drain well. This is what we like. Unfortunately, we don't see this very often. Now we're going to go back and plant that tree. Okay, we've got the hole about ready. Notice the dirt all crumbling up nice. I take my shovel and I measure the tallest point of the ball. It's up to about the top of the collar. Top of the collar, flush right here at the ground. So we're ready to put the tree in the hole. You notice that it's much wider than the root ball. You're going to have 4 to 6 inches all the way around. So the tree's going to be happy. Right now is your last chance to look at the tree before you stand it up. Here's a little broken twig. Here's a branch that just caught on itself from being laying down. Here's another little broken twig. It's easy to do now while it's laying down. After it's standing up, you got to get a ladder. And in the hole we go. You notice I put all the dirt on one side, so it's not in the way, so I can put the tree in the hole. That wasn't an accident. Okay, now is the time to pick which side of the tree you like. I'm out here in the middle of the field in my backyard among 300 trees. So this tree really doesn't have a front or a back or a side to look at. But I've got it centered in the hole, faced the way I want it. There's a slide hook in the top, faces into the wind. That's where I'm going to plant this tree. Now then, a lot of people think you have to remove all the burlap and peat. That's not how we're going to do it. I'll show you in a minute what we're going to do. Okay, I've got this tree in the hole, standing pretty straight, facing the direction I want it to. Got my ground level about where I want it. I like to unpackage a balled and burlap tree. Balled and burlap means they dig it with a tree spade, put it in a wire basket, and tie it all together. I unpackage all this. I'm not going to move this tree anymore. It's done. I'm not moving anything. You don't unpackage it till you're done moving it. Get all this cut apart. Sometimes they use jute rope. Pardon, this is jute, nylon rope. If you don't cut that nylon rope, it will absolutely kill the tree. These wire basket handles, I fold them down, out of the way. Some people insist on removing the basket. I have planted thousands of trees, including 300 right here. I never take the basket off. The basket will slowly deteriorate over the years. The roots will grow through it. Every year I replace several trees from customers who insist on removing the basket. They cut it all apart, it falls apart, then the sun comes up a hot day the next day and the tree just withers and dies. You want to keep this as intact as you can. You don't want it falling apart. Again, I'm unpackaging the burlap, cutting it open, folding it down. You'll notice the soil here from the nursery is a little bit of clay, but it still crumbles up pretty good. That's pretty good dirt. what we're planting in is much better. It's better than most houses will get. Now then, even though I've got pretty good dirt, I'm still going to add peat moss. I put some over the root ball itself, and then I scatter some in the soil around the sides. So when I'm planting it, as I throw it back in, the peat moss mixes with the other dirt, so that the whole root ball gets bedded in peat moss. And if I have a really bad soil, I add even more. I have a product called gypsum that helps break up clay. We aren't going to use that here because this soil is already breaking up. There's nothing you can make better than that. Gypsum for the hard clay, we'll show that in a little bit. Okay, now we're going to water the tree. So many people take their little spritzer and they spritz some water at it. I take the end off the hose and have a shot there and open it wide open. And I plunge it in the soil around the tree several places. I want to compact the soil without stomping on it. I want the water to do it, get out the air pockets. But I work my way around the tree. And you just keep going until you get the entire root mass well wet, well flooded. Now if you have really poor drained soil, you don't get so carried away. Since I've got good black dirt here, I'm not worried about overwatering this tree. Okay, you notice how the soil all settled? All I've done is water this in. I haven't stomped it. I just watered it nicely, thoroughly let it soak in. I kept the tree mostly straight. I'm going to stake it next, but I want to start with it pretty straight without having to pull and twist. After I unpackage that, I don't want to be moving the tree a lot. I want to keep it as intact as possible. Next, we're going to show you how to stake a tree. I believe in staking every single tree. Some people say you shouldn't because when the tree blows in the wind, it'll grow stronger roots. That's true. After I stake it for 1 year and get it straight and starting nice, then I'll take the stakes off, then that trunk can flex next year and produce those strong roots. When a tree's new, I'm adamant you stake it. I always drive my stakes at a bit of an angle, away from the tree. Too many people put it like this straight up and down, the wire pulls off. Put it at a bit of an angle so the wire can pull. I go around the tree 3 equidistant points and I put them out away from the tree so you get a better pull on it. Too many people put it next to the hole and it pulls in. Okay, now we're staking the tree. We're using probably, what is this, a 14 gauge wire, a piece of garden hose to keep from cutting into the tree. Come up here around a good solid spot, a good heavy branch there. Quick pull there. Twist it both ways. And come down and leave extra wire. And yes, my printers have a wire cutter in it, so I'm not abusing my printers. And then we keep doing this until it's all staked. Okay, we always adjust the wires to straighten the tree, and this is where it's nice to have a third person or second person. Is that straight? The answer is no.
No.
Say when.
A little more. Good.
And then we tighten the wire around the stake a couple times and tie it off like so. Now the wires don't have to be so tight, you know, like a guitar string. Each one of them taut so they hold the tree so it doesn't go blowing in the wind. See, it's real solid. If you don't stake the tree, it wallows around in the hole and it just never lets it get rooted. And when it finally does try and root, it's crooked. I get it like that and I'm done. Tree well planted and staked. Now we're going to add the root stimulator. Okay, now we've planted the tree and watered it in thoroughly. We've prepped our watering ring around the tree. It's ready to go. We've staked it. Now we're going to add root stimulator to it. Root stimulator is a great product. It has hormones to improve root development, a mild fertilizer, and B1 to reduce transplant shock. It's a great product. You're supposed to use about 3 ounces in a gallon. I'm going to guess today because I didn't bring my measuring cup, but you should always measure. I'm going to pour it around the tree. Root stimulator is a fairly cheap product and it works. It makes the tree take off a lot better, quicker, faster. Then I'm going to water it in one more time. Spread the root stimulator all through the root mass and just get it to soak in from the top of the soil into the root ball. I put the root stimulator on when I'm almost done so I don't wash it away and wash it way down to the bottom of the hole. And that's pretty much the way I plant a tree. I believe in a watering ring. This is a big one because I'm out here in a field and I'm not going to be out here to water this every day. But so many people grade the soil down and throw in grass seed. And so many people come in with their lawnmower and beat the tree up with their weed eater. nothing should ever touch the trunk of that tree. When this tree gets a year or so old, you can shrink the ring in and make a smaller area. But I never put grass back around trees. I've already seen 5 or 6 trees this year that are badly damaged by lawnmowers and weed eaters, and it's just a crime to do that to a tree. Nice watering ring, keep your work away from the tree. Straight, happy, we'll water this oak about 2 to 3 times a week depending on rainfall. Okay, I brought out a potted tree just to show you something. On this tree I want that root mass as intact as possible. On a potted tree, see how these roots coil? It's a good idea to break them up slightly on a potted tree. If they're really tight, you can take and make a couple cuts. The idea is you want these roots to spread. If you just pot it intact, sometimes they just stay in a coil. And you stake the tree, and a year later you take the stakes off, the tree just blows over because the roots didn't spread. I can show you that on several trees. So go all the way around and slightly break up the root mass, have a few roots sticking out. That's the difference in a potted tree. I brought Susan out to do some work today. I'm going to show you how hard this clay soil is. Let's see you dig a hole. Remember, as big as the one I just dug. I'll be back in a while. Let's do this the easy way.
What's that? Oh my!
Don't try this one. As I said, we cheated here and used the Bobcat, and it breaks the soil up really nice with the auger. But clay soil, when it gets compacted, it goes back to the hard chunks again. We add gypsum to the soil, it helps it break up and stay broken up. It doesn't fix it overnight, but it does help. Clay soil, heavy compacted soil like this, needs gypsum added and peat moss to add organics matter to the soil. And dig a big hole, with or without a Bobcat.